I always want fan on. Yes. Fresh air.
Bring your this.
There is a little bit of a problem here. Okay. There were some questions also, right?
A few.
Give. We'll do both. Because half we have done. People are looking at that fan suspiciously. So if you don't want off it, I have this one where no one is sitting. Yeah. 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 Oh, she likes that one. Okay. Yes. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Really very sad. Yeah. So, how can we say that there is a status change for Atma on drinking coffee? I'm just reading what is there, okay? People think I sit here and make stuff up. Sometimes I do. Yeah, but not now. I'm just reading, okay? So it still continues. How can we say that there is a status change for Atma upon drinking the coffee? Is the status change not just for the Ahankara only? That is the first question. Okay. So now, does Atma need coffee? Huh? No. To wake up. Yeah. Does Atma need coffee to wake up? No. Because it doesn't sleep. Because we've already seen what? Alupta Drik. The seer without eyelids. So it doesn't sleep, it doesn't need to wake up. Alright. So now this fellow, our protagonist in this question, drinks the coffee and looks like that emoji, with the eyes going round, round, round. Now the caffeine was very strong and is all, what is that word, wired. Right? So the Atma is where? Ahankara is wired, body, mind, sense complex is under the influence, so to say, of the coffee. But where is the Atma? Sarva Abhyantaraha. It is where the Ahankara is. Correct? So the Ahankara is acting crazy, then because of Sahavasa, Atma will also seem to be what? Acting crazy without really acting crazy. Ritam pibantau should be changed in the light of the question. Coffeem pibantau. Yes. Who? Dve. Yeah. Two of them are seen drinking. But are the two drinking really? Say no, so we can move on. First of all, you all don't come, and then whoever is there doesn't even answer. What is this? Are two really drinking? No. Only one is drinking, and the one is appearing to drink, but actually illumining the shenanigans of the one drinking. And then in the other story, with the, what are they called? Birds. Two birds. How many are eating the berries? One. Actually, there is only one bird, which as though seems to be eating, but not really eating. So therefore we say, because we don't have words to teach this, because all the words are just part of ajnanam. Because the language is catering to who? Jnanis or ajnanis? Ajnanis. So even though Panini might have been a jnani, he has to come down to our level. Atma, Atmanau, Atmanah. How many Atmas will we have? Yeah, this is the Karta. Then Atma becomes the victim. Atmanam, Atmanau. And what's the third one? Atmanah. So like this, there is the, because don't make it Atmanah, because there is a change always in the 2-3. There will always be a change in consonant ending words. So the language is for ajnanis, and therefore the language caters to duality, because the language is supposed to help us understand one another and understand this mad world in which we live. And so therefore we can't fault the language. The language caters to duality because we are enmeshed and ensconced in the duality. And so what does the language do? It just reproduces the duality, and whether it reproduces or not, it just underscores the existence of duality, because the language belongs to vyavaharikam sat. It is not paramarthikam. And so therefore, no matter how we say this, who is drinking the coffee? Is Atma drinking the coffee? Then we can go into the Kathopanishad and say, oh, Atma appears to be drinking coffee, but it is not really drinking coffee. Then we can take a walk to the Mundukopanishad and say, Atma appears to be eating the berries, but not really eating the berries. Like this we can say, and then or we can talk about this split as though, because the reality of this split is that it's not really there. There is no split between Jiva and Atma. All that is there is one. But it looks to be two because of my lived experiences, which are crazy, really. And so therefore from that standpoint it looks to be two. So we say Atma has taken on the status of Karta without being Karta. And in this example, Atma has taken the status of being Bhokta without being Bhokta. And that status comes and goes, just like any status. One day the person is boss, and the other day, next day what? Bhataha. Bhataha means what? Servant. Status comes and goes. How did the king, the Raja become Bhata? Raja became Bhata because the sentry kidnapped the king and made him change the clothes. Nobody looks at the king. They look only at the clothes. And the sentry wore the clothes of the king. And then they said, arrest this man, he said. This person is trying to impersonate me. And this fellow is crying hoarse, oh, I am the Raja. Nobody listens to him. He is not only, what is that called? A traitor, but he is also mad. Look, he's got delusions of grandeur. Take him away. Like this, it happens. So the status is something that comes and goes. So a wired Atma is an as though wired Atma under the influence of this brew called coffee. Okay, yeah. Hope that helps. Now, again, next question. With or with experiencing, with or without name and form, always is. Samadhi is Atma with or without names and forms. Without names and forms, yeah. Always is. How can we say that Atma disappears on the appearance of the meditator? You are right. We cannot say that. We must not say that. Who said that? You know? Nobody said that. Atma is that which never, ever disappears. If it disappears, it seemingly disappears from the standpoint of my own problems, my own issues. It does not disappear. Atma does not disappear at all. So that's what we do, that's what we did in the, when we had meditations. When we used to have meditations, what would we say? You know, in the previous life, what would we say? We would say that, look at the silence. So what is there? Consciousness. And then look at the sound. What is there? Sound consciousness is. Silence consciousness is. No sound consciousness is. Sound consciousness is. Space between chant consciousness is. No chant consciousness is. And the space between two chants consciousness also is. That is Atma. Is it not? Yes. If is Atma, where is the disappearance? There is no disappearance. And then there is a thought bubble here. Let me read the thought bubble in the question. But is Atma not Samadhi? Samadhi is Atma. Atma may or may not be Samadhi. Samadhi is a condition you get into and get out of. What is Atma? That which doesn't get into or get out of. Oh, there is more. Same person, lot of questions. Okay. In reality, how can we say that there are inert objects? Since I am always present and the objects appear in me and they are not separate from me, the awareness. No, you are right. Inert only from the standpoint of not being able to broadcast the presence of Atma. That is the only difference. Why? Sukshma Sharira Abhavat. Because of the absence of Sukshma Sharira. You know, Sukshma Sharira are like an antennae, you know, like the insects have that. Yeah. It broadcasts, it can see, it can, you know, do many things with that antennae. So Sukshma Sharira is like that. Sukshma Sharira gives a certain transactability to that name and form. Otherwise, the name and form is called Jadam from the standpoint of I, the conscious being. So it doesn't mean that the rock is without consciousness. Rock also is nothing but consciousness, and I, with this complex body mind sense complex. Why is it called complex? Because the human being is full of complexes. And so this complex human being is also, what is that? Consciousness alone. The truth of the conscious being, what is that? Consciousness. The truth of the rock, consciousness. And something in between. Sometimes, you know, there is like something in between. Kind of has life, kind of doesn't have life. Like these, you know, trees, they have life, but there are certain other lower forms which are on the brink of life. And sometimes they say organic material for life. And that's what they are, you know, this, what's its name? Curiosity, that's the name of the rover. Rover means a machine that has gone to Mars. And then it keeps sending photos and keeps sending dirt samples. And then the photos it takes, it has a sense of humor. So sometimes it takes a selfie and then posts it also. So in that earth, that Martian dirt, which they are looking for precursors of life, like almost Chetana. What are the organic materials for life? And that also, that possibility of life is also because of the possibility of the subtle body. So from that standpoint alone, we say inert and earth. Is there such a word as earth? No. Then why did you say it? Just like that. Okay. So there is the inert sentient differentiation is only from the standpoint of the one who is sentient and says and sees the difference. Like Chaitanyam is different in the rock, is different in the table. The table, it does not get moksha, no matter how many classes it listens to. Otherwise, this pot should be a mukta pot, moksha pot. And it should be a teacher pot by now, because so much it has heard, so much Vedanta it has heard, and it has demonstrated everything. It should be a teacher pot, Tattvamasi pot. But It is not. Why? Because no sukshma sharira. Otherwise, the pot is also consciousness. Thought is also consciousness. Body is consciousness. Mind is consciousness. Senses are consciousness. Everything is consciousness. So you are right. There is, once you get to understanding this, there is no inert, there is no sentience. The inert sentience distinction is made only from the standpoint of myself, and everything else that cannot say hello back. Hello rock, it will not say hello back. Thank God. Thank God there are things which do not have subtle body. They may be Brahman, but then what? They don't protest. What do they? That I have worked so hard, and then you're treating me like this. You don't protest. And by this time, if the mic was also sentient, what would it say? I have many things to say. I am a revered teacher in the tradition because I have done the most Shravanam, and I am sick of being a mouthpiece for you. You think you are a great speaker. Let me free, and let me tell you what I think of your talks. It can say that. Thank God. And then you go to the dining hall with your plate and spoon, and then you serve yourself, and then what? The spoon says, you wait, I am hungry. And you spoon the food, and then swaha it does. Thank God there are certain things you can take it for granted. You don't, because already life is very complicated, my dear friends, okay? And you don't need to be fighting with each and every form. And the chair should not protest. I think you have put on weight. Did you go and check yourself? Yeah. It would be very difficult otherwise. Thank God there are certain things that are overly inert. But even though they are inert, they are still Atma. They are still Satchidananda. So don't worry. They are not missing anything. Okay? And then, so if there are inert objects, then there is a duality. There are no inert objects, there is no duality. Bye-bye. Okay, no bye-bye because you have 2 more pages of questions. Okay. So, let me see. Bhagavan is not the something, link. But Bhagavan is not the will of action. Bhagavan is not the will. Whose question is this? Not here. Yeah, either not here or not talking. So, Bhagavan is not the will of action and its fruit. 5:14. Quickly look up 5:14. Yeah. So, how does that relate to Ishvara as the giver of, Namam karmani limpanti, name karma phale spriha? No. Oh, na kartritvam na karmani loke srijati prabhuhu. Like that. Okay? And then what's the second line? Na karma phala sanyoga swabhavastu. Yes. So 5:14. So Bhagavan is not connected to action and its fruit. Correct. Then how does it relate to the definition of Ishvara as the giver of karma phala? As though giver. When you bring in as though, miracles happen. Amazing. The whole Vedanta can be taught in as though. We should have a camp whose title is what? As though. Then people will as though register. And as though come. The teacher will as though teach. And the campers will as though listen. So it is as though. You see, when we talk about Ishvara as the Karta, Dharta, Samharta, what did I just say? Creator, sustainer and resolver. Karta, Dharta, Samharta. Nice, it rhymes, So when we talk about Ishvara as creator, sustainer, resolver, Karta, Dharta, Samharta, we are talking about the Tatastha Lakshana of Brahma. What is Tatastha Lakshana? The Lakshana that comes and goes. And how is it illustrated? Like the crow sitting on the temple on the other bank of the Ganga. I want to go to Annapurneshwari temple, said somebody while taking a ferry in Varanasi. And the ferryman said, well, let's see, because Varanasi skyline is full of temples. New York skyline is full of scrapers, the skyscrapers. And the Varanasi skyline is full of gopurams, various shikharas of the temple spires. And then, so you don't know which one is Annapurna temple. So the ferryman helps out and says, wait, because he knows the place like the back of his hand. And he says, do you see the crow sitting on that spire? Where? Which crow? There, that crow. Yeah, okay, that's the temple you need to go. So saying, he drops the lady on the other bank. What should she do now? Look for the crow, exactly. Yeah, if she looks for the crow, she'll be there all day long, or she'll go to some other place. She'll go to its nest. Okay, she'll follow it to the nest. So she has already seen what the crow signifies, and then she has assimilated that. Then she doesn't need the crow. The crow has finished its job. So here also Tatastha Lakshana as Ishvara as the creator, sustainer, and the resolver of the universe. In that capacity, Ishvara is the giver of the fruits of action. And also the creator. Creator means karta. Karta, dharta, samharta. So karta from that standpoint, and then giver of the karma phala data also from that standpoint. And then so now we have to see that this is the nature of Ishvara when we are talking of a manifest universe. When we talk of a manifest universe, this is the nature of Ishvara. When we talk of an unmanifest universe, what is there? Is karta there? Say no. Here is a hint. Okay, say no. Hello. Abba. Amma. Even after telling the answer, it doesn't come. What to do? Yeah. Say no so we can move on. So, in Pralaya, is there any karta? No. Is there any karma? No, because the jivas are also sleeping like you here right now. Okay. And then, is there any karma phala? No. If there is no karma phala, should there be any karma phala data? No. So therefore, Ishvara is Atma with the status. I know you don't like this word that much. You're not very comfortable with it, but with the status of what? Creator of the universe, sustainer of the universe, resolver of the universe, giver of the fruits of action. That is a status attributed to the Chaitanya Atma, which is free of that status. Atma doesn't have anything. And that same Atma dons the status of a begging human being. Give me some more karma phala, give me some more nice karma phala. Who is this? The complaining jiva. The complaining jiva, fortunately, is also a status. So that is what it is. So it is the status donned by Ishvara, where the intrinsic nature of Ishvara is what? Don't say no now, okay? Yeah. What is the intrinsic nature of Ishvara? Satyam. Bring it on. Keep coming. Jnanam Anantam, or Sat Chit Ananda. That is the essential nature of Ishvara. So when he says Namam Karmani Limpanti, or whatever he said, there na kartritvam na karmani lokasya srijati prabhu. The Prabhu, Prakarshena Bhavati, the causeless cause, the one who has assumed this causality. The causality is a status superimposed upon this Satchidananda by Maya Shakti. Maya Shaktya Anvitaha. So this Ishvara, that which is Ishvara, because of the Shakti endowed in the form of Maya, has assumed the status of Karma Phaladata, has assumed the status of Karta, but really has not created Kartritva Buddhi for anybody. or karma for anybody. Kartritvam na cha karmani lokasya srijati prabhuhu. So the part of creation does not include every jiva. Doesn't take a magic wand and say karta, 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 karta. There's one game, the children play. And then, so there is, what is that? You say duck, duck and goose. So if you say goose, the other person has to run and catch you and say duck, duck, goose. So Bhagavan doesn't go karta, akarta, karta, akarta. No, there is no karta that is born. And there is no karma that you are meant to do. There is no work for people that Bhagavan has better things to do than create work for people. Na kartritvam na karmani. Na cha karma phala sanyogaha. That also na srijati prabhuhu. Karma phala sanyoga means the connection between karma and karma phala also the Ishvara does not create. Then how is it there? Swabhavastu pravartate. It is because of Maya. What is Maya? Avidya here. Because of avidya, we have seen this. Kama comes, karma phala comes, and then complaints come, ragadvesha comes. All of that is because of avidya. Bhagavan has not made you karta. Bhagavan has not made himself, herself karta either. Okay? Alright. Then, could you please elaborate on the definitions of Bhagavan and Ishvara? Now, some other time, okay? Yeah. Since you are not here, we will do it when you are here. Okay. So, a few days ago, you gave us some homework. What is the difference between Arjuna's question to Sri Krishna? Oh, we already did this in the afternoon satsang. At the beginning of chapter 3 and the question in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 5 also at the beginning. Please solve the mystery. Mystery solved. I love life. Okay, this is wonderful. Yeah. Next. Bada hai. Okay. Yeah. Bada wala hai. Okay. All that is here is what? Ishvara. See, everybody knows this. This is wonderful. I understand this statement intellectually. I enjoy the beautiful Himalayas and the serene Ganga and find it very easy to see Ishvara here. But then I pass by a dirty, stinking lane, yes, with open drainage or a garbage disposal dump. How do I see Ishvara here? Yeah, that's $1 million question. Now my question is, do you have the $1 million? So, and it continues. Right now, I'm trying to consciously see Ishvara even in the dirty, stinking lane and the garbage disposing dump. Am I on the right track? Is it all about cultivating the habit of converting my dveshas into my ragas? No, don't do that, okay? Don't convert your dveshas into ragas. Neutralize the dveshas, neutralize the ragas. That is the idea. Okay, so it is very easy to see Ishvara in nice things. Correct? We saw that today in the Bhashya. Your question is really a reiteration of today's Bhashya, where it says what? This Suryo Yatha Sarvalokasya Chakshuhu. The sun is like the eye of all the people. It's like the collective eye of all the people, and Atma is eye of the eye of the eye. Okay? Yeah. So it's the collective eye of all the people, and then it is not tainted at all by what it sees. And what does it see? Adi Shankara does not leave anything to the imagination. It sees all the things that you are talking about. Sewage, and then stinky things, open drainage, all these things the eyes see. And then the nose smells also. And then what do? How do you see Ishvara in that? You see Ishvara in the inevitability of these things. That there are certain things that have a bad smell. Thank God they have a bad smell. Otherwise, given our, given how much of non-discriminating we are, we would probably eat all kinds of things. But we don't. Why? Because that bad smell warns us. If the food has gone bad, it will emit a smell. And the first thing we will do is, oh my God, this is off. I can't eat it. This is an internal mechanism to protect the body from eating something it shouldn't, from intaking something it shouldn't. And so, so you see the inevitability of this, and so you see Ishvara not in that particular drain. You don't look in the drain, open drain, and say, Ishvara, are you there? No. You see the inevitability of it. You see the infallibility of it. And everything that is here in the universe has been made with a certain purpose. Has been made with a certain purpose. And that purpose, we connect to that purpose. Sometimes we know the purpose, sometimes we do not know the purpose. Regardless, we trust that there is a purpose because everything has some purpose. Even a broken down clock or watch shows the correct time 2 times a day. Yeah, so everything has a purpose. And so therefore, here also the drain, etc. has a purpose. And then all the dirty things has a purpose. So you don't see Ishvara literally in the dirty things. You see Ishvara's intelligence and the knowledge behind this purpose for these things to exist. That's how you appreciate Ishvara. Then, today you taught us about Karma Yoga. Today? No, whenever this question was asked. Okay, yes. Why do we say that Ishvara is Karma Phala Data while we say that Jiva is equal to Ishvara is equal to Brahman? If the above equation is true, why don't we just say you are responsible for your own Karma Phala? No problem, you can say that. Ishvara, Jiva is equal to Ishvara is equal to Brahman. If you know that, then you are indeed responsible for your Karma Phala. Ishvara is not giving Karma Phala of somebody else to you. No. Whose Karma Phala is coming? Your own Karma Phala. Ishvara is not giving his Karma Phala to you. So chill, okay? Yeah, because your own Karma Phala is coming back to you. I told you, it is gift wrapped, that's all. And then, like during Deepavali, Christmas, the parents choose what each child gets. So there will be many toys that the child number 1 likes. Out of that, 2, 3 are chosen and given. And then there will be some toys which the child number 2 likes. Out of that, some are packed and given. So it's like that. In the Sanchita bank balance, there is so many karmas, and then the Ishvara chooses which ones to undergo in this particular life. And whose karma is your own karma. So whenever the free will is used in line with dharma, what do you get? Punya. When the free will is used in opposition to what is righteous, what is correct, what do you get? Uncomfortable situations in the here or the hereafter, which is called what? Papam. That is papa. So that is what punya papa is. It's your own karma. So you can say Ishvara is the giver of karma phala, and I take everything that comes from Ishvara as a prasada. That is an attitude. That's why we say. Because we don't yet know I am is equal to Ishvara is equal to Brahman, however that equation you made. So we don't yet know that. We are all jnani wannabes. So the wannabe jnani doesn't know that. In the process of knowing you may be, but if you don't know that, you better see Ishvara as the karma phala data, because that is where the alienation is. So accepting Ishvara as the giver of karma phala and accepting that karma phala, whatever comes, however bitter it is, as a prasada, helps one to grow, to precisely learn what? You is equal to Jiva is equal to Ishvara is equal to Brahman. Correct? But to know that, you have to go through this. You can't skip the steps. If you skip the steps, then you miss out on a lot of things. You miss out on self-growth, you miss out on emotional maturity, you miss out on the spiritual vistas opening up, you miss out on being the kind of a non-reactive person, a person who is in acceptance of what is. You miss that growth. And as a result, when you miss the growth, you miss the vision. Because the vision is very obvious. It's very, very obvious, and you miss the obvious. Like this Sherlock Holmes and Watson went on a camping trip, and then in the middle of the night they put their tent, they went to sleep, they went on a trip. In the middle of the night, Sherlock Holmes woke up Dr. Watson. Watson! Watson! What? That's what I'm saying. Watson, wake up. So, wake up. What? What do you see? Watson looks. He's all still, in the middle of the night. He says, astrologically speaking, the ascendant right now is in the constellation of Leo. Horologically speaking, this means that some astrological prediction he gives for the Samashti. Meteorologically speaking, I think it's going to be a fine day tomorrow. Sherlock says, idiot, somebody has made off with our tent. Yeah. This is what is called missing the obvious. Missing the obvious happens when I am not ready. When the preparation is not there, I miss the obvious. The vision is the most obvious, and it's not even hidden. Still, it is the secret of secrets. So if we skip the step in Karma Yoga, then it is one step forward and 3 steps backward. Then I will be in the position, if I skip that, then I will be in the position of looking longingly at the Vidya, but not knowing, and somehow fallen off the wagon. We don't need to fall off the wagon. What's the hurry? How many lifetimes have we wasted? And here we are not wasting it. So let's take the time and do it how we are told to do it. So when we don't miss the step, na chirena adhigacchati. It's not long hence when we will be saying hello to moksha. Then, that was the question? Okay. Then the writer says, let me myself try to answer this question. Smiley face. I wish you had told me before, then I wouldn't have answered it. But it doesn't matter. Let's see what you have to say. Is it because I'm presently living in a world where duality is my reality? Bingo! You got it. When I graduate from Vyavaharika to Paramarthika Satta and become a Jnani, I can say I, Ishvara, am the Karma Phaladata. Well, let me, very valiant attempt here, let me edit that slightly. When you are a Jnani, you can say, I am Ishvara, what karma phala, what karma phala? Data. Karma is a construct, karma is again a status, karta is a status. Upon that, broadcast upon that, superimposed upon that Atma which is free of being karta, karma phala. It is just a model. It is a model to be able to ride on the road of dharma. It's like the extra wheels which who are those people? The parents put on the children's bicycle. Tricycle is easy to drive. We can all manage it, okay? We'll be too big for it, but we can manage it. But then bicycle means you have to balance And the children don't know, the child is afraid. So if you put 2 extra wheels, then the child slowly learns how to balance, how to steer. And then that, that can come off later. It has to come off. So the whole dharma and karma are the extra wheels of this bike, so that the child, this balaha, this adult child, learns how to ride on the road of dharma and not get derailed from this path. So when you are a jnani, what will you say? You will say, I am Ishvara, yes. What karma? What karma phaladata? Where is it? No karma. Because namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spriha iti mam yo abhijanati karma bhihi sana lipyate. Namam karmani limpanti. Limpanti means they don't even come limping towards me. Yeah, they don't touch me at all. Limpanti from lip. Lipyate, passive. Limpanti, limpati, present. Okay? It's nothing to do with limp. Meaning, the karmas don't touch me at all. Why? Name karma phale spriha. Because I'm not interested in karma phala. I'm not interested in accumulating karma phala. I'm not interested in avoiding karma phala. I'm not interested in punya, and I'm certainly not interested in papa. Iti mam yo abhijanati. The one who knows me in this manner, that person is also free of what? Karma, karma phala, the whole accoutrement. So when you are a jnani, you will recite this verse with great pride and happiness. Okay? And then what else? Yeah. If my above understanding is correct, then what is the role of pratibhasika satta in the order of reality? Pratibhasika satta in the order of reality shows me something. What does it show me? It shows me something very important. It shows me that I need to grow. That is what it shows me. It shows one that one is hurt. And because of pratibhasika satta, first let us understand what is. What is pratibhasika satta? Subjective reality, my own reality, meaning I see it, therefore it must be there. I see you frowning at me, therefore you must be mad, just like somebody in my life was mad and angry. This is pratibhasika satta. And then if you go ask them, why are you frowning? They will say, I was having a headache. It will be a very different reason. Okay, so it has nothing to do with why they were frowning. So the pratibhasika satta, the role of the pratibhasika satta is twofold. One is to understand that there is need to grow. One kind of growth happens physically, all the 6 vikaras the body undergoes. That's not enough for the human being. That's enough for the dog, cat, cow and monkey you see on the roads. That's not enough for the human being. And the second kind of growth is the growth from ho-hum to so-hum. That is the kind of growth we need. And for that growth, there has to be an emotional maturity. But I am not interested in Vedanta. Then there is an interim kind of growth, even if you are not interested in Vedanta and you are not interested in the 6 vikaras, because that's happening automatically. So, the interim growth is to grow into a compassionate person, a compassionate, accommodative person. Everybody wants that. And then the pratibhasika satta, one's own subjective reality, stands in the way of that. It's a very, very big block. It makes me an intolerable person. Always reacting, always hyper-vigilant, always wanting to control everything around me. I can't let go because, oh my God, what will happen? Whole life the child led like that. And so therefore, the pratibhasika satta is a reaction to early childhood pains and sorrows. It is that reactivity because I see things that are not there. And then therefore one kind of growth happens automatically, another kind of growth happens because there are parents and caregivers. The growth is happening because of parents and caregivers. And then coming to the Guru for the Shastra, the Guru has to reparent you in a way. The Guru does that. The Shastra itself is like a mother and a father in one. Sahasramatravat Hitaishini, like 1,000 loving and functional mothers she is. And so the Shastra reparents you, the Pramana reparents you, where you finally are able to feel safe enough to let go of this Pratibhasika. You can be without it. You know, and you know that you will glow when you are free of this Pratibhasika. It's not an ordinary thing. So so the role of the Pratibhasika is to what? Is to help one grow, to see how much there is to grow. Because one doesn't like being all this, having all this reactivity, etc. In any shloka or mantra, what do I have to look for? This is a very nice question. In any shloka or mantra, what do I have to look for to conclude it is A. Tvam pada vichara, B. Tat pada vichara. Very nice. So, there is, if it is discussing about the body-mind-sense complex, if it is discussing about raga dvesha, if it is discussing about jivatvam, jivaness, then what is it? Tvam pada vichara. If it says that it is sahasra, yas sarvagyaha sarvavit, yas sarvagnyas sarvavit, yasyaiva mahima bhuvi. The one who is all-knowing and who knows all things in general and who knows all things in particular and whose glory is spread all over this earth. What are we looking for? Tat pada vichara. We are looking, this is Ishvara's description. This is Ishvara's description. Sometimes it's not clear. That means it is both. It is Mahavakya when it is both. When both of them are there, both Tvam and Tat are equated with one another and discussed in the same sentence, then what is it? Mahavakya. That was just question 1. There are 2 more questions. Second one, how do I establish this equation Tvam is equal to Tat? I'll explain that. Let us look at your part 3. How can I understand which topics come under Tvam Pada and Tat Pada? That's the same as question number 1, is it not? Yes? Am I missing anything? First one says, in any shloka or mantra, what do I have to do to conclude it is Tvam Pada Vichara or Tat Pada Vichara? Question number 3 says, how do I understand which topics come under Tvam and Tat? Okay, slight difference is there. Topics means like topics of Panchakosha. What does that have to do with? Body, mind, sense complex. Avastha, Traya, these are all methodologies. These are topics. Avastha, Traya. When you talk about sleeper, dreamer and waker, who are you talking about? Yourself. Tvam. And so things like that. When you talk of body, mind, senses, and then you talk of Sukshma Sharira, Sthula Sharira, Karana Sharira, Tvam Pada Vichara. Then when you talk about the, what is that called, the creation, cosmology. So, Kamayat Bahusyam Praja Gyeyeti, like that. When you talk about the creation cosmology, Tat Pada Vichara. When you talk about the infallibility of that which is called Ishvara, Tat Pada Vichara. When you talk about Karta, Dharta, Samharta, Atma in the form of Karta, Dharta, Samharta, Tat Pada Vichara. These are the topics. This is how to tell them. Now, how do I establish the equation Tvam is equal to Tat? And let us go back to our potato harvest methodology. This is a very beautiful prakriya, Vedanta prakriya. And how do you establish this prakriya? It's just like the potato harvest. One side is what? Jiva. Another side is Jiva. Both of them are potatoes under the ground. Let us just visualize this. So then, when you harvest potatoes, you have to be careful. You can't cut through because you will be cutting through the potatoes. So you give lot of extra room and cut in the dirt and then dig it up so that the whole greenery comes as a clump along with a lot of dirt and the potatoes. So the potato is mixed with clumps of earth, clods of earth that just look like potatoes. So now, what should I do in the potato harvest? Remove non-potato. Oh, here is an earthworm. Potato or non-potato? Non-potato. Carefully remove it on the side. And then clod of dirt. Non-potato. Some other, those long, what is that called? The root-like things coming. Non-potato. Non-potato, non-potato, and it's gently beaten on the side of the farm wherever you have harvested it to loosen the non-potato portions of the potato. Then it is very easy because this is Tvam Pada. So what is what is the non-potato in that which is exemplified? What is the non-potato? Yeah, that body, non-potato or potato? Non-potato. So then mind, senses, kartritvam, bhoktritvam, all these accoutrements, all of them are what? Non-potato, non-potato, non-potato. And all of them I just beat it, and then what is left is what? Sat, Chit, Ananda. Ishvara's side also same thing. Oh, but what can I take out from Ishvara? Many things. Ishvaratvam, wearing the Karta status, Karta crown. Potato or non-potato? Non-potato, because it comes and goes. Remove the crown, remove the status. Ishvara is something very powerful and I am powerless. Non-potato. Both powerlessness feeling and powerful feeling, both are non-potatoes. Remove that. Dharta, karma phala data, all these things are non-potato. Maya, Shakti, potato or non-potato? Non-potato. And then all that is left is potato. If we spell out the potato, what is it? Sat, Chit, Ananda, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Therefore, Tvam is equal to Tat, Tat is equal to Tvam. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo